All right, looks like we've got some folks on the line. Welcome to MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday night live call-in show. Let's adjust the camera. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. We've got about 10 or 15 on the line, and I will address the live chat in just a second. Welcome to the voice of college football, MarkRogersTV. All right, I've gotten a little bit away from the live streams recently. Don't want to do that. I enjoy talking to you folks. You know that. Want to take the calls, want to check out what you have in the live chat as well. I think we've had 2 live streams since the national championship game. Whole lot to talk about. I've been cranking out the videos. As you can see, as always, we have addressed National Signing Day at as many locations as we possibly can. We've looked at recruiting at Ohio State, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, UCLA, and a number of other locations, including TCU and Notre Dame. In the next few days, I will be joined by a number of guests from Pitt, UCLA, Washington, Arizona, Auburn, and some other ones still in the works. Florida tomorrow with David Waters from Gators Breakdown and Jackie Franchuli from Gators Territory on Rivals. I want to let you guys know that, of course, you can contribute both here on the Super Chat. If you love the content that we deliver, please let us know by throwing us a few bucks to keep this thing going. And I've talked in recent days in cryptic ways. I apologize for that, but that has to be the way it is in some cryptic ways as the importance of building up the channel. And you guys have been amazing because my numbers have exploded over the past couple months, from gaining 250 subscribers roughly per month to between this channel and the other channels, the combined subscriber rate has been added to by about 1,600 over the last month. And we were in the 60 to 80,000 view range over the last several months, going back to last year and the year before. And over the last couple of months, our views have topped 250 to 280,000 a month. So thank you so much for your support. Dondre, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. I caught your comments to the Big Ten video. It's not anything that's a big surprise. Thanks so much for commenting. Dondre, rightfully so, is boasting and bragging about the Clemson Tigers. And why not? They didn't just win the national championship. They dominated what we all thought was the best team in the country, a 5-point favorite in the national championship game, and dominated the game. And aside from a struggle against Syracuse and a struggle on the road against a really good Texas A&M team, Clemson over the last half of the season flat out crushed everyone, dominated everyone in the ACC, dominated the ACC championship game. And I know Pitt's not very good, but if Pitt had gone to play in, let's say, the Pac-12 championship game, they would have been somewhat competitive, I think. And maybe on a given day against Georgia or Ohio State, certainly would have had a better chance than against Clemson. Clemson was that dominant and showed up the entire second half of the season after working things out, of course, with the Kelly Bryant situation and paving the way for Trevor Lawrence to take over. Dondre, thanks so much for the support. I appreciate it. Because the situation here is very simple. I love college football. And if nobody was watching and if I wasn't generating any revenue, I would still be here talking college football because that's what I did for 3 or 4 years with no response and no way to monetize on YouTube. I still talk college football and was cranking out just about as much content then as I am now because I love college football. I don't think you can hide that. I don't think you can mask that in any way or pretend to love something and to be this invested in it. You guys see that. But I would like to do this full time. I would like to do it at a greater scale. I would like to do it to a grander scale with better quality content, look, production quality, and all of that I've talked about in the past. So thanks so much for joining us. I will join and jump on the live chat. Keep in mind that the phone lines are, of course, open at 860-325-3687 to take your calls and talk college football. I have been looking at my content delivery over the last few days, and I've talked about all the recruiting that I've cranked out. We've had some great discussions with a number of folks, and also my analysis that I'm in the midst of, to be released in just a few hours, the SEC. And then I'm going to throw out all the numbers. I'm going to put them out there, and I'm going to say, these matter. These you got to take into context, and this is what it all means. This is the best conference. This is number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Debate. Let's talk about it. For all the years that I've done this, and I've probably done this for about 5 off seasons, the metric that I built has, by most measurements, have accurately reflected what the college football season looked like and what you would think would be the best conferences 1 through 5. This year, we'll see how it plays out. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
This is Deep Barat. How are you doing?
There he is.
Mark?
Deep Barat. I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for calling tonight. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm great. What's up?
Not much, man. So a couple of important points that I just wanted to kind of bring up was that, Justin Fields just got the waiver, so he's pretty much clear. He's going to be playing next season. And I know that you're a Buckeye fan. I don't know how big of a Buckeye fan you are, but I'm sure you're pretty excited. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal and the waiver being granted? And then also, I guess for us, I mean, you know how much of a Texas fan I am, a huge Texas fan. It brings us some hope for Brew McCoy. Hopefully he'll be clear and ready to play, and everyone will be a happy camper at the end of the day. Let's start off with that.
Okay, I'm not really that much of an Ohio State fan. I actually rooted for them to lose 3 times this year. I rooted for them in the other 10 games, but I rooted for them to lose 3 times. I'm just kidding. I am a huge Buckeyes fan, grew up a huge Buckeyes fan. And I could not bleed scarlet and gray any more than I do as I look around my house and see books and plaques and pictures and paintings and drawings and all sorts of stuff. Jim Tressel getting Gatorade bashes and drawings for my son of Woody Hayes and Urban Meyer.
You also love that. You love that song. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan.
It's a good song. Well written.
It's a very good song. I love that song.
It's a great song.
I'm not even an Ohio State fan.
It's catchy.
But yeah, I mean, that's huge news for you guys that you got Justin Fields to be
It
clear.
absolutely is.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I will clarify that, I don't quite live and die with the wins and losses as I once did in my younger days, but it's still close to my heart. In terms of Justin Fields, it's all about potential. So do we know what we're getting for sure? From a talent standpoint, yes, we do. We're getting one of the best talents to come out of high school football at the quarterback position that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. A guy that is equally, I read a couple articles about this, talking about Ryan Day's perspective, which of course is going to be glowing comments, but Ryan Day doesn't need to chime in on this. This is but what's been talked about concerning Justin Fields since he was a sophomore in high school. About his ability, like a Kyler Murray, to not that this guy's okay. This is a guy that is a tremendous runner, a Michael Vick, who also can sling the ball around, or this is a guy that has some mobility, but he's a pocket passer. No, this guy is elite in both categories. Now those are the skills. That's the talent, but he hasn't done it. Kirby Smart didn't find it wise, for whatever reason, to cut him loose and let him show us anything in passing situations at Georgia. in meaningful situations. So we haven't seen it from a passing standpoint, although he passed proficiently again in non-crucial situations at Georgia. But it's all about potential, and he has it. And for as good as Tate Martell, I believe, will turn out to be at Miami, which will be, I'll make some comparisons on Tate Martell later, but Justin Fields is certainly an upgrade from Tate Martell, potentially. And from a running standpoint, he could be just as good as Dwayne Haskins from a passing standpoint, and so much better as a runner. Yes, this is an elite quarterback in the making.
Yeah, a lot of Michigan fans are already crying, from their tweets and their other YouTube posts and videos that I'm seeing. Yeah, this kid is a beast. Some people compare him to Trevor Lawrence, very similar rating, as you're well aware. And he could have very easily been the starter freshman year at Georgia too. So I think you guys are in a great position with your program. I think it's going to be interesting to see though how he plays in clutch situations and very tight games, particularly in the Big Ten schedule. You know how it is, right? I mean, 110,000 fans, away games. And, I think that, again, I'm not a huge Ohio State fan or anything. I just hate Michigan a lot. But I think the clutch game is in Nebraska. I think that's going to be a tough environment to be in next year. And I'm not going to say Ohio State's going to choke, but they have choked. You got to admit it, for the last 2 years. And I think at Nebraska is going to be a very critical game for you guys, particularly on the road. And then you also got Northwestern, which is going to be pretty challenging as well. So when you combine a couple of those away games, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles those types of situations. But I think you're in good hands. I think, maybe Shea Patterson gets better, his senior year at Michigan. I don't know, though, if Michigan has it in them to really beat you guys. I do think that Jim Harbaugh has the experience, but, I don't know how he's going to match up to Ryan Day. Maybe you're going to do a preview about that sooner or later, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Big Ten coaches compare. And yeah, for us, man, it's also big news. Like, I'm a huge Texas fan, and the fact that we're getting this waiver scene from Justin Fields. Brew McCoy, big Brew McCoy, #1 athlete in the country. He may be eligible to play and destroy OU next season. Already OU has one of the worst defenses in the country, but I can just see that kid kind of just catching balls all over that are thrown from Ellinger and getting it. But losing him next year would be a huge loss for us as well. And yeah, man, it's one of those days, right? No college football, no nothing for the next 6 months or so, 7 months. So I think recruiting is the only thing that's kind of going to happen. If that happens, I suppose.
So, Deeper Rod, I like the way Texas is building from the standpoint of what you just alluded to, and that's we saw through the development of Sam Ellinger and the outside receiving threats of Johnson and Humphrey, and not a great running game, but it was better than the year before, much better than the year before, that this is a defense-driven team that hasn't forgotten the offense, and the offense caught up to a certain extent this year, where Oklahoma, when is the last time Oklahoma had an elite defense? And I would like to see it. I know they switched out the defensive coordinator. Exactly. His early years there. They at one point, they took that turn around the Landry Jones, Sam Bradford era. They took that turn into, we're going to score 50 and you're going to score 45. And maybe it was the dearth of recruiting talent on the defensive side of the ball that they weren't able to attract anymore, that turned it from, wow, we won a 2000 national championship where we shut out Florida State, to 5-6 years later, we're gunning for our lives, and this is how we're going to play football. And from an offensive standpoint, that was very forward thinking, because that's where we were all headed. So they took the turn about as quickly as just about anybody else in the country. But on the defensive side, boy, they just let it go, and they haven't recovered since, and they haven't won a national championship since. They've been elite, they've been close, somewhat close, Other times they've been embarrassed by the other elite teams. But Texas, what I've seen out of that defense the last 2 years, and after losing all those NFL players after 2017 and being able to rebound and feel just about as good as a defense as the previous season, was pretty impressive.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what's more encouraging is the new management staff. I think Drew Maringer is the #1 recruiter in the country. You saw what Tom Herman did during his stint at Ohio State. He learned a lot from the old grandmaster, right, Urban Meyer himself. So that's very big, encouraging news. And then, of course, I think Todd Orlando is a top defensive coordinator. I think it's going to be interesting to see if Orlando can really kind of churn a quality defense, because that is very hard in the Big 12, because there's a lot of powerful offenses, and those offenses in the Big 10 or Big 12 are very high octane offenses. Like, they're loaded. As much as I hate to say it, like, OU does indeed have some of the best wide receivers. They have the #1 QB recruit as well coming in. I don't think he's going to play next year, though, over Jalen Hurts. So I think there's a lot of interesting developments on the Big 12. I do believe, though, that, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a huge Texas fan, it could be, but I do think Texas is the favorite to win the Big 12 next year.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Vegas thinks about it. I haven't checked that out, but I will certainly make my picks at some point and may make some early projections here and then tighten it up with my official predictions later in August, when I can take it all in and what happened in the spring and how the reports are coming out about how certain positional units are developing in the summer. All right, Deepa Rod, thanks so much for joining us. I got another call coming up here and don't want to miss them. We will talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Have a lovely
evening. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. The call will start at the beat. Let's see who we've got on the line.
Hi, Mark. This is Anthony.
Hey, Anthony. How are you?
I was reading an article a few days ago talk about specific college recruiting, college football recruiting, and how it's going to be affected by these two pro leagues, the AAFL
Sure.
and the XFL.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this might affect college recruiting and how it might allow the more developed high-level recruits to go pro automatically and stuff like that. Do you agree with that article, or do you think that's just people speculating and stuff like that?
Well, it's certainly people speculating. That doesn't mean it's not valid. So people can speculate because we haven't seen it yet. So it is speculation, but that doesn't mean it's not valid or it's not logical. So what I'm hearing is that the theory is that since there are 2 additional professional leagues now available, that some kids will leave school, and even if they can't make the NFL, will continue to develop their skills to make a jump to the NFL and use one of those 2 leagues to do so and also earn a paycheck.
Yeah, they're saying that these leagues might be like a feeder system for the NFL, like developing these high school kids so they don't have to go to college. Do you think that could hurt college recruiting really bad, in your opinion? Like, if that really does happen, like in the next few, 2 or 3 years, maybe?
So my first question would be how much they're going to be paying these kids. So if they're paying them $20,000 a year, it's not going to affect anyone. If they're paying them $100,000 to $150,000 a year, and a kid can say, "Oh, okay, I can play for $150,000 a year for a couple of years before I'm ready for the NFL," versus going to college and making nothing but a college education, I think that could sway some kids. I sure hope it doesn't go that way. That would be awful for college football. I can't imagine that it's going to have a huge impact.
And what do you think about the Hurricanes? Do you think they're going to have a winning season this year above? My prediction for their season is 11-1, or no, 11-2. We lose to Florida. We beat Florida. We lose to Clemson in a close game, maybe hypothetically, let's say maybe like 24 to 28 or something like that.
When are you playing Clemson?
In the ACC championship.
Okay. All right.
And then we lose. We might lose to a team like Oklahoma or someone that doesn't make like an SEC team that doesn't make the college football players. Maybe like Georgia or something. Georgia or Auburn or something. Hypothetically, and the game is close, like 21-23 or something like that.
So you're going to win all 11 games, which actually it would be 12 games. You're mentioning 2 losses, and you said Clemson in the ACC championship game and a bowl game against a Georgia or Oklahoma. Is that what I heard?
No, Georgia or not Oklahoma, Georgia or Auburn.
Okay, Auburn. Whomever. We need to clean up the math a little bit. So you got a 12-game schedule, then you're playing in the ACC title game and then a bowl game, so you got 14 games to deal with.
Yes, we beat Florida because beat Florida in a close game, like 24. Then we basically, our schedule is not that strong this year, honestly. We're going to beat up on FAU like we usually do. Like we did last year. Then we have like Central Michigan, and Central Michigan is not going to be a good team. So, like, be able to compete with us. We can win the ACC Coastal, honestly, because Virginia Tech is a dumpster fire, basically. Duke, we have at home this year.
Hey, Anthony. I don't know that everybody wants you to go through the entire Miami schedule. And I'm just trying to save our listeners here a little bit. So you're telling me that you're going to win every game, lose the ACC championship game. You're going to go 12-0.
No, we're going to lose to Clemson.
Yeah, that's in the ACC championship game. You're going to go 12-0 in the regular season. And then you're going to lose to Clemson and lose a bowl game. You're going to go 12-2.
Lose a bowl game.
Okay.
Yeah, 12-2.
I would love to have the under. If you can give me the under with the 11 wins or under, I'm all in. You name your price and I'll take it. Oh, you just dropped them. You dropped them.
10-3 or 11-2.
Okay, we still need to iron out the math, Anthony. 14 games.
11-3. 11-3.
Okay.
11-3.
All right. You know what? I'm not going to discount that in any way because, like you say, on paper, right this second, Miami is better than everyone on the schedule, excluding Florida, and that's a close call from a talent standpoint on the roster. Obviously, Florida was a substantially better team last year, but from a talent standpoint, it's a very comparable matchup. And the 2 games in the other division, the Atlantic, are Florida State, which are going to have to prove to me that they're back, and obviously losing its quarterback in DeAndre Francois, James Blackman, a decent player. But Louisville's the other crossover matchup, shouldn't be an issue. And the Coastal, I keep seeing other teams win the Coastal Division besides Miami in 2017. So Miami continues to have the best roster, but falter somewhere along the line and hand the Coastal Division to the likes of Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech and Duke and Pitt and other teams. But that would be a great bounce back season right there. 11-3, you'd finish in the top 10 to 15 in the country.
Yeah, and I have another question with Manny Diaz. Do they have a national coach, like up-and-coming coach of the year award?
Up-and-coming coach of the year. Maybe I should start that, the Voice of College Football up-and-coming coach of the year.
No, for over, like, as an award for like, over, like, you know how they have coach of the year?
Absolutely.
Stuff like that for the AP. Do they have an AP award for, like, a brand new coach that does better than they expected?
I sure hope they don't.
Like that? Or
does better than expected. What do you think people are expecting of Miami this year? Based on that schedule, I think a 9-3 is pretty much the target.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They expect us to go 9-3. Let's say we go, like I said, 11-3, or 12-0 in the regular season, and lose to Clemson in the bowl game.
All right, Anthony. Keep that, write that prediction down. I'm not saying it's a bad one. I have yet to make mine. I will be making some early projections here in the next few weeks, but I'm going to make my official ones as I typically do in August. And last season, I was not as firmly on the Miami bandwagon as all the Miami fans that watch me certainly were, talking about 1-2 losses or 1-0 losses. I did project Miami to go 10-2 and then lose the ACC championship game to be 10-3. That was my projection for the Canes last year, and I and just about everybody else was off. I didn't necessarily select a bowl game. They let me down because out of 5 Power 5 leagues, that would be 2 slots per championship game. So that's 10 slots. I picked 8 of the 10 teams that made conference championship games, and Miami was one of the 2 teams that let me down, along with Wisconsin.
And do you think this whole transfer portal thing is gonna the waiver thing is gonna screw up automatic waivers? Do you think that's going to make the transfer portal even more crazy next year?
Yes.
With them automatically letting players, it's already crazy where they can go, but now since they gave Justin Fields and probably Tate Martell has a better, what is it called?
They have a better
appeal, chance to get his waiver because he was lied to basically by Urban Meyer before he retired. He said he was going to get the starting job as soon as Dwayne Haskins left for the pros this year. And they're going to give it to Justin Fields, the guy who just transferred in.
Yep.
It's kind of unfair when you're promised by the previous coach that you're going to be the starter, even if he gets replaced by his offensive coordinator who knows you. In a sense, don't you agree? He has a better shot of automatically getting the waiver faster.
Well, I don't know that they're factoring that into the waiver consideration necessarily. I don't know that it was stated publicly why the waiver was went through. I didn't see that anywhere. All right, Anthony, I don't want to tie up the lines too long here. I get regular feedback that my phone calls are way too long. So you are welcome to call me anytime we do a live stream. Certainly comment to the videos. I'll respond, but certainly you're welcome to call in anytime, but I don't want to take on too many long phone calls because the folks in the live chat, they have buried me for taking on too long of phone calls and letting people talk forever. So I appreciate that. And you are, again, welcome to call anytime, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.
You too. All right. I got to get to this live chat. You folks are saying all sorts of stuff here that is catching my eye. All right. DeAndre's on here first. Thank you so much again for the contribution, DeAndre. So I want you guys, when I mention the super chat, I am simply mentioning the super chat. I don't want anyone to feel in any way coerced or that I am soliciting funds here or anything like that. But it is what it is. And the situation is that I am working and I am working here, and I would like to do this full time and would like to expand it. And a lot of indicators are pointed in the right direction, but need to continue to be just that for us to do this full time. It's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line? Oh, somebody hung up. So DeAndre's on the line. God's on the line. And he spelled DeAndre's name wrong. God, you need to work on your spelling. Anthony, who just called. I assume that's the same Anthony. Can't wait to see how good this AAFL league will be, considering Uncle Lou is hyping it up. Deep Arat, what's good? Of course, he gave us the call about Justin Fields and about Texas football. All right. Who else is on the line? Hardwired to self-destruction. Texas got one off. Got a call coming in. All right. Hey, it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line? For some reason, this is not coming through correctly. Whoever's called the last 2 times, I don't know if there's something that you're doing or for some reason the phone burner application's not working on that particular call. Give me a shot one more time. Thank you. All right. Okay. Miami videos. Here's the deal, folks. Woo! You know what? I just took my mic right off the... Yeah. There we go. Find the screw. There we go. That thing needs to be cranked up a little bit. I may have to end the the live stream. Let's see. Do a little maintenance off here to the side. All right, here we go. I believe we're fixed. So with the Miami videos, here's the deal. You are going to continue to see Miami videos probably more so than the other teams because I have very capable guests, very popular guests, very, again, capable elite guests, meaning Cam Underwood first and foremost, and some others. All right, the other concern there, or the other factor there, would be that I've got a large contingent of Miami fans. Now, I could say I'm going to sell out to Miami and just do a bunch of Miami videos because those are the most popular videos most of the time. But I'm not going to do that because the goal here is to cover college football. And therefore, I will never sell out to one particular school, one particular team, one particular fan base. That will never happen. I'm not a Miami fan. I don't care anything about Miami. I watch college football. I love college football, and Miami's on the radar along with everybody else. But because of certain circumstances, one involving Cam and coverage on the State of the U in recent years, my Miami subscription rate has gone sky high. My other ones that seem to be high would be I get a lot of response for Ohio State videos, Michigan videos, Alabama, Georgia, and some other ones depending. USC used to be a big one for me as well. So it all depends. But I'm going to kind of balance those two things out. I'm going to post and I'm going to address what's popular because think about it. Would you post videos when they get 45 views when you can post a view and get 2,000 videos or views? I think that the decision is pretty clear there. So if you want me to produce more videos on your team or on a particular topic, then you need to request that. Then you also need to ensure that those videos get views. I'm not going to produce videos. I would love to produce videos on Iowa football. But when I produce Iowa football videos, nobody watches them. Are there Iowa football fans? Are there thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands Iowa football fans? Absolutely there are. Because when Iowa plays on ABC and ESPN and Fox, millions of people watch the games. So there are tons and droves of Iowa football fans. They don't know that I exist. Until they know I exist, then I need to balance it out. So I need to, when it's time to address Iowa football, I will produce Iowa football videos because I enjoy all the teams, want to talk about all the teams. I will talk about the Iowa secondary from here until midnight. And I will address it because the aim is to draw in different fan bases, to take the Miami model, and to a lesser degree, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, some other schools that do well on my channel, to take those models and to raise it for these other fan bases and to bring in the fan bases from LSU and Oklahoma State and Oregon and all over the place. And then we have a situation in which I'm producing videos on everybody, and especially those teams that deserve it, that have earned it, who are elite contenders. I would focus mostly on them, and then I would give attention to everybody to varying degrees, and all the videos would get 5, 10, 15, 20,000 views, and I wouldn't even think about who's going to get a lot of views. I would only think about what matters. So when I think, do I have the Iowa person, the blogger, come on here and us talk about Iowa football, is this worthy of my time? Well, from the standpoint of myself and wanting to talk Iowa football, yes. From the standpoint of, well, if I continue to do this, maybe I draw in some Iowa fans. A lot of Iowa fans is what I would need to, not like 12 of them, but like 10,000 of them. But maybe it's a waste of time. So I have to continue that balancing act of trying to draw in new fan bases, but also producing the videos that are going to draw views. So if you don't like the videos that I'm producing, then you need to help me go out and grab guests that will build up those other fan bases. And you also need to share the videos and let people know, hey, Auburn or Mark just knocked out 4 or 5 Auburn videos. Check them out. Mark just did 5 Washington videos. Check them out. That's the only thing that's going to correct that and is going to balance out the playing field. The way things stand right now in college football, I should be doing the most videos on Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, etc. And then to a lesser degree, Florida, LSU, Michigan, etc. The hierarchy should determine who I talk about unless there's a breaking story. If Justin Fields announces I'm leaving Georgia, obviously I'm going to talk about that. And that's going to speak to the Georgia fan base and then the fan bases that have a shot at acquiring Justin Fields, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and whoever else was in the mix at the time. So hopefully that answers your questions. So I will stop doing that many or that large a percentage of Miami videos when somebody gives me reason to produce other videos. But I will never sell out to one team or one topic, one conference. Yes, I will always speak to the topic of college football. All right. Hopefully that answers the question. Dennis is on the line. NCIS Fanatic 21's on the line. Dondre's got Oregon, Texas, Clemson, and Bama in the playoffs. Hardwired to self-destruction. Mark, don't mention Miami. Okay, I won't. The Barat, I think it's Ohio State instead of Oregon. God says, DeAndre, I tried, but Jesus told me that I should just let those Canes fans get hyped up, even though they are the definition of trash. Raymond looking for the number 860-325-3687. DeAndre, again, thank you so much for the contribution. Buckeye State Sports, I could tell your channel started growing when I started to see new names in the chat. Who else? Who else? Who else? I think 2011 Alabama was the best Alabama team in history. Richard's on the line. Good to see you. Cheryl's on the line. Hey, Cheryl. DeAndre, 31-0. I ever seen that number before? 31-0. 31. Oh, yeah. I know what Dondre always brings that up. 31-0. 1989 at the Metrodome. Minnesota led Ohio State 31-0. It was close to halftime, and then the Buckeyes scored just at the end of the first half to make the score 31-8 with the 2-point conversion. And then Greg Fry led this remarkable comeback against the Gophers in the second half, and the Buckeyes came back from 31-0 to win 45-38. I believe the final score was. Finally figured out, Dondre, why you keep writing 31-0. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was an awesome game. I remember going to a party that Saturday night. I had my Ohio State shirt on, and a couple guys stopped me and were like, they suck. They sucked today. I was like, that was one of the best games I've ever seen. They're like, what do you mean? Watch the game. Watch the game to the end. Don't shut games off when there's 5 minutes left in the first half. Man, I am awesome. That's great. I love it that I figured that out, DeAndre. That that is your memory, your tribute to Greg Fry and the Buckeyes coming back from 31-0 against Minnesota in 1989. I just figured that out. All right, Cheryl, go Bucks. Good news for the fans about Fields. Number is 860-325-3687. We have a lady in the chat that, of course, is Cheryl. And so I hope that everyone is paying her well-earned respect and talking to Cheryl in the chat. John, good to see you. How about them Gators? A lot of Florida football coverage here. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Tomorrow, David Waters from Gators Breakdown and Jackie Franchuli from Gators Territory join us. Dennis on the line. D. Rev Lee. So D. Rev Lee, this is the first time I've seen you on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully you've subscribed, shared the videos, liked the videos, commented the videos. That keeps us driving forward. We've got Luke Ritchie on the line. Luke, this is the first time I've seen your handle in the live chat. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Best discussion, debate, and analysis on the game we love right here. Smash that like button. Please do it for me. Please do it for the channel. So all these things that I say about supporting the channel in whatever venue that is, whether that's using the Amazon links to do your Amazon shopping, you don't need to buy or purchase anything in particular. You don't have to buy the product that you see when you click on the link. Just do your regular shopping at Amazon using the links that we provide below in the description section. Also, of course, we get the super chat open. Again, no pressure. Watch, enjoy. You don't need to donate, but if you would like to throw a few bucks my way, this is exactly what it goes to. Here it is. Okay. I've got a full-time job. I have to keep the full-time job. I also have a full-time job here. If you haven't noticed, I crank about 40 to 50 hours of content your way and everything else I'm trying to do to build the channel per week. So that's about 100 hours of work per week. That's not going to continue. I don't know when it's going to stop, but it's not going to continue forever. Therefore, either I keep the full-time job and I do this sparingly, and I don't know what that means. I have no idea. That could be one video a day instead of 5 or 6. That could be one video a week. That could be one live stream every football season. That could be one a week. I have no idea. But it's not going to be anything close to what it is now. Or I do this full-time and we build this channel because there are revenue streams out there and it is possible to do this. I have a business plan that I'm working on. It is possible to do this. Someone has chimed in, and I certainly need to wait. Wow. Okay. Joseph, thank you so much for contributing. I think you get it. And again, for everybody else, your support in whatever way that is, whether it's to like, comment, share the videos, whatever you do, I appreciate if you just chat in the chat room, whatever it is. If you like the content, and we're doing our best to make it work, to make it something that's interesting, I would like to make it a little bit more fun and entertaining in the future, and we'll work on that as well. Again, I am floored by that, Joseph. Thank you so much for the contribution. And I will cut right into this, because I've been thinking about our content approach over the next few months, especially before we get to spring football practice. So this is what I'd like to do, and I want to get your feedback and your suggestions. So here's where we go with this. So I am finishing up the conference rankings. So I've delivered all the metrics for all the conferences, excluding the SEC, and that's coming. That's coming. Here it is. I just cut the video right before I started the live stream. There it is. I actually cut the video, jumped in the shower, then started the live stream. Therefore, you'll see me not look so presentable. Not that I do right now, but even less presentable in some of these videos. I get that comment from people time to time, especially people that know me personally on Facebook and are actually my friends in person. And they're like, Mark, my family will tell me this at times, and sometimes my kids, and be like, I can't believe that you will jump on the line and you're just out of bed, or you've been up for 22 hours and you don't present yourself the way that you should. So I apologize sometimes for my presentation, which is a bit haggard. All right. So I was working on delivering the conference rankings, and after I deliver the SEC, sometime after this show, I'm going to post that video on the SEC rating. Then I'm going to put it all together and make sense of it. All right, here we go. So conference rankings, we'll knock that out next. Coaches rankings. I'm going to go through every conference, and I'm going to rank the coaches 1 through 10, 12, or 14, depending on the conference. I did this a few years ago, and I had a great response, a lot of great discussion, debate, and analysis on this. Of course, ranking the coaches in all the conferences. And then I'm going to rank them 1 through 10, 10 best in college football, 1 through 10 right now. So it's not necessarily a legacy award. So don't assume that Nick Saban is going to be ranked number 1. If we were ranking it on career, Nick Saban's number 1. There's no question about it, especially right now, active. It's not even close, of course. But I'm not ranking it based on the legacy, the track record, the resume. I'm basing it on how good they are right this second. And maybe Dabo Swinney's a better coach right this second than Nick Saban. Maybe. Of course, I'm going to have to make speculation about guys like Ryan Day as a head coach. He's been the head coach for 3 games and really wasn't the head coach then. So you have to project to a certain extent. Ranking the coaches in all the conferences, and then the top 10 in the nation. All right, player rankings. Now, this is going to be a huge undertaking that I attempted a few years ago, and I almost got all the way through the country. Almost. I'm going to go through every conference, and I'm going to rank every position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks, special teams players. Top 5 at every position in every conference. And then the top 10 nationally. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, etc. All right. Next up, I'm going to go with my listing of ranking all the teams from last season in 2018. 1 through 130. So we're going to start at 130, and I'm going to rank them all the way up to number 1 from 2018. I would like to take in spring practice, take in spring ball hear the reports from spring camp about especially position battles and about some of the freshmen who could make an impact this year before I preseason rank all the teams for 2019, 130, all the way up to number 1. How in the world am I going to get all this done? But this is what I'm going to attempt to do. Think about the position rankings. Top 5 at every position. There's like 11 positions. So that's 11 per conference. That's like 55 or 60 videos right there. All right. Schedule rankings. So we dabbled in some schedule previews with Mike McDaniel from Inside the ACC a few weeks ago with ACC schedule previews. These schedules preview videos are going to be a little bit different in that I'm going to rank the schedules as I always do. Trouble is, I usually start this project way too late, and I'm cranking out like 17 videos a day the last 3 or 4 days of the off season before kickoff. And they don't get much traction because people want to see this earlier. So I'm going to get on this pretty soon. I am going to rank all the schedules in Power 5, 1 through 68. And in addition to that, something I haven't done in the past, I'm going to project everybody's record. That is not going to be my final prediction, but at this point, I'm going to project everybody's record. So I'm going to rank all the schedules, and I'm going to project everybody's record. All right, what else am I going to do? Would love to do some all-time rankings. Should I take all the programs in Power 5 and rank what? The top 10? The top 25 all-time rankings. I'll come up with some kind of metric that will weight national championships, conference championships, winning percentage, top 10 finishes, top 25 finishes. Maybe certain points should be given for All-Americans and Heisman Trophy winners. Rank the programs. I could rank the program since the year 2000, this century. Maybe that. The top 10 at certain positions at each school, at elite schools. Top 10 all-time Oklahoma quarterbacks. I did top 10 Alabama quarterbacks a few years ago, and I did the top 10 at Ohio State a few years ago. People seem to like that stuff. If I start a series and it doesn't work out, I'm not going to. In the past, I've just trudged through and just knocked them out. But if they don't get much traction, I'm just going to drop it. So those are my plans. Let me know what suggestions and recommendations that you guys have and what you would like to see. Justin, thank you so much for your contribution. I appreciate it. Justin, I don't know when you started watching. I would love for you to drop your favorite team and how long you've been watching in the live chat. I would love to see that, Justin. I just noticed here in the last couple of weeks, seeing your name. It's always interesting to me to know how long people have been watching. Sometimes I get comments from people and I assume that they just started watching. Then they'll say, oh, I've been watching for 4 years. I just decided to comment, which is fine. You play it however you want. Definitely. But Justin, I would like to know how long you've been watching and who your favorite team is. Uh-oh. Cheryl says, I'm buffering. I hope everything's fine now. For anybody who is not watching this live and then goes back and watches the replay, that was a bit of an embarrassing start. I don't know if anybody noticed, and I shouldn't draw attention to this, but I like to present myself as a professional. I used to be one, and maybe I'm a quasi one now. But man, I sat down in the chair and I just started bumbling and stumbling, and nothing came out of my mouth right. All right. Ishbukar, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. You donate by, I believe, selecting the $ that you will see at the bottom of the live chat. At the bottom of the live chat, there's a little emoji that's got a face that looks like a pumpkin carved out for Halloween, and a $, and I believe you hit that, and I would donate to myself, but that would be kind of stupid. I did that one other time just to show everyone, and you just hit the $, there, and you throw me $1 or whatever you want. Patreon, obviously, another way in which we could possibly raise some money. I had noted the other night, and anytime I repeat myself, I apologize to anybody who's watching me on a regular basis that hears me repeat these things. But I try to reach as many people as possible with some of these messages. And one being that it was my aim and goal. Once we hit the off season, once the national championship game was played, and I released my top 25 that actually makes sense, that I was going to work on production quality. Buy a new camera, a camcorder that was suggested being by my whiz tech guy, Marty McPadden. New camera, mic, new software, production software, and a PC that would have to run it that would cost me about $5,000 total. Got a call coming in, then I'll finish my little dissertation. That's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who do we have on the line? That is so weird. The last couple of calls that I've received, the operator came on the line, said that I needed to hit 1 to start the call. I did, and then it just went dead. So I don't know if somebody's giving up on the call, but that's happened the last 3 times. I'm using phone burner. So this is another thing that would be taken care of with production software, is that I could take actual phone calls the way that I should, where I could actually continue to work over here, listen to the phone calls, talk to you on the phone, and not have to sit there and go like this. It would sound better. It would free me up. Hey, it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
What's up, Mark? Hello?
Yes, who's on the line?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yes, sir. This is my first time calling tonight. I wasn't me calling it, hanging up. So it's my first time calling tonight.
First time calling tonight. Yes. Who's on the line?
It's DeAndre.
Okay, I thought it was, but I just wanted to make sure, and it didn't quite sound like you. Anyway, I appreciate you calling as always, DeAndre. You need to clarify something for me. I do not want to mispronounce your name, and I always thought it was DeAndre, but I noticed obviously that it's spelled D-A-N-D-R-E. So it's DeAndre?
It's spelled it's spelled D apostrophe capital A.
Oh, okay. All right. So it just looks, that's where I got DeAndre when I saw it spelled at one point, but when you see it on YouTube or online, you just sometimes don't see the apostrophe. All right, good stuff. I just didn't want to butcher that and talk to you all the time. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good, man. I watched a little bit of that football game. It was kind of boring, but it's due for now. The spring football can give us something else to talk about. And the class ranking. But Mark, what I be saying that I was tours I'm looking at. I was talking to some people about the PED, and Pinsky Pete, he was talking about this. They said that story is made up by that Crawford guy down there at Pittsburgh and down there in South Carolina. Is that true, or what you hear?
Oh, you got to back up and explain to me where we're going with this. I don't catch some of this stuff. I don't catch all the stuff that you guys catch. What story are we talking about?
They said that Dabo Swinney made a comment that he accidentally gave the Clemson players PEDs, and then the guy said, well, if you notice in his article, I think it's about Brad Crawford, that they said you notice that he didn't use any quotations. So they said that the story is made up.
Okay.
But they said when you quote somebody, which I know you're in the journalism business, he said that they said that when you quote somebody, you're supposed to put quotes in there, and there were no quotes in there. So it's like something that he just made up.
Interesting. Okay. Brad Crawford's a guy that we've had on several times in the past. Brad's a guy that follows me on Twitter.
Okay.
I follow him as well. I can't, for as much as respect as I have for Brad and his work, I can't personally vouch for him. He's not a personal friend that I would vouch for, but he certainly has come on here and done a nice job. And I believe him to be a first-rate journalist. It is kind of curious that he didn't use quotes unless he basically had a source. Maybe he had a source in which he is. Brad Crawford was shaking the Southland.
Yeah.
No, he is not. I don't remember. I believe he's a 24/7 sports guy. I believe. I would have to look it up. I forget who he's with.
Oh, okay.
He's not with shaking the Southland. No.
Oh, okay. But yeah, but that's what the whole thing was about. But I don't believe it. I mean, they said they have people tested every 30 days. So if you only came up with 3 people and 100 and all the months they've been tested, that's kind of crazy. But people cheat, and that's part of the sports, and it happens. I mean, Miami, I was joking around with Dennis Wilson, and I was telling him I said Miami was still in pitcher funds. Ohio State had the tattoo issue, which I still don't think they should have got in trouble for. But stuff like that happens.
You can imagine what I think of that.
They were using PEDs or stuff like that to win games. We still don't know why the Alabama players were suspended for the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So but back to one thing I'd like to cover before I go. You're talking about the Big Ten rating. Outside Ohio State,
okay,
I just wasn't really impressed with the Big Ten.
Okay.
And I know you say, we go by what we see on the field, or Minnesota and Georgia Tech. Who else played? Wisconsin, Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And we all thought Miami. I think me, you were the only two outside that guy that predicted the LSU loss to say that we didn't have a lot of faith in Miami this year.
Mm-hmm.
But and Penn State played. I think Virginia and Indiana played. That was a razor late game. They ain't no excuses. Virginia lost the game.
Yeah.
But my problem with the whole thing is, if I just don't see enough speed in the Big Ten to compete with South teams. I know they win in quite a few games, especially Ohio State. But other teams, I don't see the speed that you need to compete. I mean, I think Michigan and Florida would have been a better game if I wasn't impressed with Florida either. I think if all Florida, Michigan players would play. But I think that a team like Syracuse would be good in the Big Ten this year.
Well, it's ironic, DeAndre, that you're using Syracuse as an example of a team in the ACC and a team from the South, that the Big Ten would have issues competing with teams in the South, but Syracuse is north of a ton of teams in the Big Ten.
Right, that's true. But I mean, I'll just put the ACC. NC State, I don't know what happened with NC State this year. I thought they would have a better team. I know they lost 11 players off of defense. But, their receiver core was supposed to be one of the best. They had a returning quarterback. It just bad. I don't even know how Dave Dorr still has a job up there. I think he's been doing a good job of keeping the North Carolina recruits home behind what Clemson gets and what Georgia sneaks in every now and then. But I know he had been doing a good job of keeping them at home in recent years. But I just can't explain some of the football that we've been seeing out of some of these ACC schools. They just bipolar outside of Clemson. And I keep trying to tell people, I think Florida State's going to be pretty good next year. I think their main problem was their offensive line. Blackman's already played for a whole season, or at least 11 games 1 year. So it's not like he's an inexperienced quarterback. So I think people need to start giving Florida State a hard time and watch out for them. And I think Matt Brown is going to do a pretty good job. But Carolina got some talent. It's just I just don't know why. I just don't know about their coaching over the last couple of years. I mean, The guy had Mitch Trubisky, he had Melvin Williams, he had a couple other players in there. Logan, he rushed for 5,000 yards in one season here down in North Carolina for his high school level. So I think he got 499 yards in one game in the championship game. So I don't understand why Carolina having so much issues like they do. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think the ACC should be better than what it is, but it's not for some reason. And we'll see over the next couple of years because Clemson's not always going to be 15-0 and have Trevor Lawrence. And I know everybody's talking about the next class next year supposed to be like one of the best classes ever, but we'll see. But you're not always going to have Trevor Lawrence and all these receivers.
Can you hear me now? You got me now? Anything? Hello? Nothing? I'm not going to take any calls right now until I get the sound worked out. Can hear me. Okay. The setting got screwed up. It just defaulted automatically to the actual laptop mic. Okay. I had a number of people calling in during that time. Please call me back. I wanted to work out the audio. I'm not going to take phone calls if nobody can hear us. So unfortunately, I guess nobody heard DeAndre's phone call. The one thing I will say, DeAndre, so I pointed this out a number of times. The Big Ten and the ACC played 6 times, and all of the games were like-seeded matchups. It wasn't like it was Ohio State played North Carolina or Clemson played Rutgers. They were like-seeded matchups, and the Big Ten won 5 of the 6. Now, do I think that that necessarily means for sure that the Big Ten is better than the ACC because they beat them 5 out of 6 games? No, but I think it needs to be measured, and it's very telling. It's an indicator. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, who's on the line?
Hello?
Yes, sir. It's Mark. Who's on the line?
Hello? Hello?
Hey, Mark. It's Mark on.
Yeah.
Yes, hello?
Hello?
All right. We have somebody having fun with me. All right. What do we have on the line? Man, all you people stuck with me when you couldn't hear me for how long? Goodness gracious. All right. Cheryl took a coffee break. All right. Oh, man, this went on for a while, huh? Bo Nix, DeHaan Moore. I have never seen your handles in the live chat before. Welcome. I hope you come back. I hope you stay. I hope you love the discussion, the debate, and the analysis. And please comment both in the live chat and to the videos and let me know what you want to hear. What do you want to hear about? Did everybody hear my big rundown on what I'm going to be covering? Did you hear all that? I think you did. Okay. MCD Sports 4, going to try back in a few. Big Ten is definitely better than the ACC. Only team in the ACC any good is Clemson. That's according to Justin Firm. John Andrews, talk Canes football. What do you want me to tell you, John? I have released so much Miami content that should keep you satisfied for weeks. Did I hear about the new football league? I heard something about it, Cricket, but I have no interest in any more football leagues. We have a legitimate college football, NCAA Division I FBS football with 130 teams. We have the NFL. I don't need any other football. I enjoyed the USFL. I really did. I was a junior high kid, and I liked the USFL. I thought it was fun. I don't know how I remained a huge baseball fan and didn't lose track of baseball, but I still watched a ton of the USFL. Guess when you're a kid, you can just take in all this stuff. It doesn't seem like I've got time for anything now. But the XFL will pay players up to $200,000. John and D. Rev Lee, this is the first time I've seen either one of you on the live chat. So welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We are here to deliver the best college football content anywhere. I appreciate all the donations to the Super Chat. If anybody else would like to donate, I've made an explanation at times to let you know what it is going to. It is going to a full-time delivery of the channel, and it's going to production software, new PC production software, mic, and camera, first and foremost. And it's to send me to the Rose Bowl and the college football playoffs next year. I'm just kidding. All right. Anything else in the live chat? All right. If nobody has anything else, man, I'm going to go to work here. Conference rankings to wrap up. Coaches rankings, player rankings, 1 through 130 FBS rankings for 2018 and then 2019. All-time program rankings, schedule rankings, projections. Yeah, this is going to keep me going for a long time. Another thing that I would like to do more consistently is when there's a breaking story, when a Justin Fields announces that he's in the transfer portal or it's discovered that he has signed papers to go into the transfer portal. I'm only using that as one example. I want to jump on that as quick as possible. In the past, I sometimes have. Other times I've not been able to. Of course, if I'm working like a 9 to 6 day and it's 11 o'clock in the morning and there's college football news, unfortunately, I can't touch it until 10 hours later. All right, it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line? This keeps happening. Who's on the line? Hello. What is going on? No idea. Cheryl came back. Deeper Rod wants a Pac-12 preview. I will give you a Pac-12 preview when we get to that point. I am not going to give any previews on teams until we get through spring practice at least. All right, let's see if phone burner is going to be good to me here. It's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. The call will start at the beat. Let's see who's on the line. Hello.
Mark.
Yeah, who is this?
Can you hear me?
I can.
MCD Sports.
Oh, of course it is. How are you?
Good. Sorry that was me that last time. For some reason my phone crapped out, but glad I could get through. I just want to call in. Basically, your view on Justin Fields and Ohio State, because that thing went through or whatever. So I just want to get Ohio State's view.
Oh, you want my view on Justin Fields? Did that not come through?
Yeah, Justin Fields.
Were you on the line when I talked about Justin Fields a while ago? I was asked about Justin Fields on the first phone call, and I gave my take on Justin Fields. Did you catch that? Hello?
Yeah. I hope Maryland beats them.
I know you're a big Terps fan. Let me ask you this. Would you like for me to do Maryland football coverage?
What was that? My phone's like breaking up.
Okay. Would you like for me to do Maryland football coverage?
Well, like, Mark, my phones keep on breaking up. I'm just gonna hang up because my phones keep on breaking up.
We'll see you, man. Thank you. All right. Phone issues, mic issues. Woo! You guys are still here, though. It's good to see you. All right. I think maybe we'll call it a night unless somebody else has anything else to talk about. And I'm going to get right on this. This is a massive list. Ranking all the teams. So when I rank the teams, I'm just going to rank the teams just like I rank the top 25 teams. I'm going to give very little explanation, and then I'm going to just serve it up as this is 1 through 130 for 2018 first, and then after spring practice, and I can analyze the teams and the additions 1 through 130 for 2019. I'm just going to lay it out there, and then you guys are going to let me know where I missed it, where I screwed up, where I'm a complete idiot, and then we'll get it going. All-time program rankings. What should be included in all-time program rankings? I'm thinking national championships, which you guys should know. I like to put that into context because not all national championships are created equal in terms of evaluation. And you know I don't like the national championship system. I hate the current system. I hated the BCS. It was even worse. And of course, voting for a national champion is a flawed system beyond belief. So there has never been a good national championship system. So actually, Team A going 11-1 in 1961 and Team B going 11-1 in 1961 and Team A being voted the national champion means nothing to me. That doesn't necessarily mean that they had a better season. So I may not weight national championships as heavily because I'm an objective guy, not a subjective guy. And that's what we have in college football is we have a subjective selection process that votes teams in, selects teams to play in the playoff. It's not like the NFL where a team has to earn a spot into the playoffs or the BCS championship game. So I'll probably give less weight to national championships when I do all-time rankings than I will to just flat out winning percentage. Now, if I was going to do some kind of exhaustive formula, I would take winning percentage into account versus the strength of schedule, but I cannot go through the entirety of college football history and go through strength of schedule. So winning percentage is going to be high on my list. And conference championships, they are tangible. National championships are not tangible. A conference championship is tangible. We know what every team in the SEC needs to do to win the SEC championship game. We knew even in 1960 what every team in the SEC needed to do to win the SEC championship. And if there was a tie for the SEC championship and there were no championship games, at least we knew, hey, there's a three-way tie and these three teams tied for the SEC championship. So there's three winners of the SEC. And I don't like that, but at least they all three earned it equally. Or if there was a two-way tie and one team won it over the other head-to-head, then they should be the champion. But I'm not going to rate national championships. I'm going to give them a huge weight, but not as huge as other people would because of just that. It's subjective. All right. Canes 2001, the best college football team ever. 2018, Clemson. 01 Canes, greatest team ever. 43 players drafted, 17 first-round picks. Texas 2005 was the greatest North national champion of all time. Only one team that could be talked about, Miami 2001. Tyrell Mack. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Welcome, everyone, to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. The voice of college football is me, but it's also you. You have a voice. You've got a voice in the live chat, got a voice calling in during the call-in shows, and, of course, commenting to the videos. So that's why we call it the voice of college football. Do I consider myself the voice of college football? You know what? Yes, I do. But also, you have a voice, and we've got the voice of all the guests that we have on here. So together, we are the voice of college football. So welcome. Our aim is to deliver the best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football, and also to have some fun. Justin Firm, I like someone's idea to rank the past 25 national champions. Okay, maybe I'll cut that video right now. Last 25, so that takes us back to 1994 through 18. All right, let's rank them. Well, first of all, we've got an issue. 1994, Nebraska won the national championship. In 1994, Penn State went undefeated. That's our whole problem right there, and that's what I started to do a few weeks ago, but nobody watched the videos, was a number of people, including, hopefully he's still on the line, I don't believe he is, NCIS Fanatic 21, asked me to go through every college football season and analyze it to say, hey, we've got an injustice here, like we have a number of times, or did we ever consider that that team was robbed of an opportunity, or that team, Oklahoma State 2011, Ohio State 2017, whatever season it is. Miami 2000 was robbed of an opportunity to compete for the national championship. I think it was NCIS Fanatic 21 that suggested I do that. Well, I started to do that and nobody was watching the video, so I stopped, even though I thought it was a whole lot of fun going through all the seasons and letting everyone know, hey, this championship is valid, but let's also consider that this team did not receive an opportunity to make the playoff, and they earned it just as much as these teams over here. So let's give some consideration to Michigan State 2013 that played just as well as Auburn, that won the Big Ten championship with only one loss, won the Big Ten championship game, won the Rose Bowl, had the same resume basically as Auburn, actually had a better loss than Auburn. But nobody was watching this thing, so we gave up on it. Okay. Also, Cheryl's the voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Cheryl, let me know where your YouTube channel is, and I will subscribe. Dalton Moore. No one thought in 2014 when the Buckeyes lost to Virginia Tech 21-35, they would make it to the playoffs, but they won with their third-string quarterback. Okay, Dalton, you know what? Got a little story for you. The Monday after Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech, which dropped the Buckeyes to number 22 in the rankings. Of course, the college football playoff rankings were not yet out, but number 22 in the AP poll at 1-1 with a win over Navy and a loss to Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech would finish 7-6 that year. Okay, the company I work for happens to broadcast the college football playoffs. I went into my boss, and I'm relied on to a certain extent on those big events to manage the floor. So I put in a request to take off the night of the national championship game. And my boss said to me, he said, you know, Mark, we need pretty much all hands on deck that night. Why do you need the night off? And I said, I want to reserve it just in case Ohio State plays in the national championship game. And he said, they just lost to Virginia Tech. There is no way they're going to the national championship game. And I went, we'll see. Just, we'll see. And I was off the night of the national championship game. Groon's on the line, and Groon had made a comment earlier in the chat that I wanted to get back to, and now I completely forget it. Mark, who is the best college football team ever? What year? John Andrews. First of all, John, I'm getting some great comments and questions from people I have never seen before. John Andrews, welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Welcome. Who do you root for, and how long have you been watching? The best college football team ever. Oh my goodness, this is tough. From a talent standpoint, it is probably the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. From an NFL perspective of a team that did accomplish what it needed to in college that year on the field. So we're not talking about this was a star-studded team that lost 3 games and then looking back based on their NFL careers, man, that team was really good. They just didn't fulfill their potential. They won the national championship. They obliterated Nebraska. There were really no teams in that 0-1 season. It was a very odd season, because, of course, that was the year that Nebraska went to the national championship game after losing 62-36 in the Big 12 championship. Or no, they lost to Colorado the day after Thanksgiving by 26 points. They didn't make it to the Big 12 championship game. This is how screwed up the BCS was. They didn't make it to the Big 12 championship game, and they still made the national championship game. And then, of course, that happened in 2003 with Oklahoma, who lost by 4 touchdowns in the Big 12 championship game and still made it to the BCS championship game against LSU, and this happened over and over and over. Anyway, the point I'm making is that that team delivered on the field, and then we got to see how great those players became at the next level. But in terms of sheer dominance on the field, that 1994 and then specifically the 95 Nebraska team. The 1995 Nebraska team was extremely dominant. Let's go through. You're welcome, John. Let's go through this 1995 Nebraska season, which of course was culminated with their demolition of Steve Spurrier and Danny Werfel and the Florida Gators 62-24. This 95 Nebraska team, my goodness. Let's see if they had some close calls. See if I remember these games. They opened the year with a home game. No, they opened on the road, but it was a conference game. That's odd. Anyway, Nebraska at Oklahoma State, they won 64-21. Then they went to Michigan State, who was not very good then, but they won that game 50-10. Then they beat Arizona State. I remember this game 77-28. So keep in mind, I don't remember specifically what that Arizona State team did, but this was obviously an Arizona State team that was compiled of a lot of the players that went to the Rose Bowl, that went 11-0 the next year and competed for a national championship. And Nebraska beat them 77-28. Yeah, that was with Jake Plummer at quarterback, and a team that went 6-5 with Bruce Snyder as the head coach. So they weren't great, but Nebraska beat them by 49 points, beat them by 7 touchdowns. Okay, they beat Pacific 49-7, Washington State 35-21, Mizzou 57-0. All right, then they started to play some better teams. They played Kansas State, the number 8 team in the country. They beat them by 24 points, 49-25. They played at Colorado. They beat Colorado, the 7th ranked team in the country. They beat them 44-21. They beat Iowa State 73-14. They beat Kansas. Remember this. Kansas was number 10 in the country. Nebraska beat them 41-3. They beat 3 teams in the span of 4 weeks, 3 teams all ranked in the top 10. And this is later in the season. So these teams did something to earn their top 10 rankings. Nebraska beat them a combined 134-49. Then they beat Oklahoma 37-0. That was not a really good Oklahoma team, but it was a decent Oklahoma team in 1995. And then they beat Florida, of course, 62-24 in the national championship game. That is one of the most dominant runs of football you're going to see in a particular season in modern times. Vince Young is the GOAT of college football. 2014 Ohio State. I might raise a plaque and put it right on the wall here somewhere to Joseph. My goodness. Thank you again so much for your generosity. Okay. Why the Buckeyes lost against Virginia Tech? Cause I wasn't watching the game. You missed that one, Cheryl. Okay. It didn't cost them in the end. Dennis, 1986 Miami, best team that didn't win a national championship. So there's another interesting conversation. The best teams that didn't win a national championship. Rank national champions. Rank. I need a better mic too. I need one of the. I want one of those mics that that's on the crane you see that kind of like a radio mic that's on the crane you see, and you can kind of move it as you move, and it kind of adjusts, and one of those deals. Rank non-national champions. That's a good one. I don't think we're going to get to all this, but we'll get to as much as possible. All right. Somebody wanted the last 25 national championships ranked. No problem, John. Unfortunately, Cam will not be able to join us this Wednesday night. Also, it just hit me. I lined up a number of guests for Wednesday night, and then it hit me. I'm going to be traveling on Wednesday, so I'm not going to be able to join anyone on Wednesday. I am going to, even though I'm going to be traveling and away for about 5 days, I think that I'm going to be able to pre-record enough content that we will not miss a beat. 2012 LSU, 09, 2012 LSU is a great team that didn't win the national championship, huh? 09 Texas, Adam Byers. Adam! Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I have yet to ever see your handle. Please let me know who you root for and when you started watching. Welcome to the best discussion, debate, and analysis in college football. This is where we do it. Check out the videos. Leave some comments. Like the videos. Even if you disagree with me, if you believe that we're doing our best to deliver the best debate, conversation, discussion, analysis, then like the videos and share the videos as well. Thank you. Groon is... Groon, I can't say that I really understand your question in the live chat. Not that I want to be answering email all night, but you guys know that you can always contact me at MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. Also understand that we have a newsletter that goes out very inconsistently. I'm sorry for that. For those of you who are signed up for the newsletter, I think that you can vouch for me that we delivered the newsletter during the season every Monday on time. From the first week of the season through the conference championship games, the newsletter, the voice of college football, was delivered to everybody every Monday. I have been all over the place since then. I should probably make it a little bit more realistic to deliver the newsletter every other Monday. So maybe we'll shoot for that. Adam, I root for the Horns, so I'm finally happy for the first time in 10 years since we finally had a decent season. That you did. Prince, 6'1", on the line. 2018 Clemson Tigers 15-0, won 13 out of their 15 games by 20+ points. 4 first-rounders on the D-line, greatest team ever. Albert, thank you so much. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the feedback, the support. You guys, when you make comments, when we're debating college football and you make comments about your analysis, I love that. If you're just supporting me and just saying, hey, we love it, keep it up, doing a great job, that is encouragement. So don't discount that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Vincent McKay. XFL Alliance Football League. It's going to be good for college players that we have grown to watch but don't have the talent to go to the NFL. Mark Rogers, talk about it. Man, I got my directive from Vincent. Mark Rogers, talk about it. Thanks, Vincent. That's funny. This is the first time I've heard from Vincent, and he's giving me instructions. Vincent! Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thanks for joining us. Vincent, are we going to talk about this? So when I was covering the SEC for a CBS station in Mississippi in the late 90s, there was a league that was formed, and I forget the name of the league, but it had the same approach. The Jackson, Mississippi team was collecting Ole Miss, Southern Miss, and Mississippi State players because the thought process is pretty understandable that college football players who aren't quite good enough to make it to the NFL but still have fans, especially in hotbeds for college football like Mississippi, those players are going to attract fans to the games. It didn't work. Maybe I'll check this out. Who's broadcasting these games? This is the kind of stuff that you guys keep track of, and I am such a mainstream sports fan, especially football fan. This is off my radar. Who is broadcasting these games? Christopher Wright's on the line. Good to see you. Deep Barat, Sam Ellinger is much better than Jalen Hurts. Deep Barat, you're right. Red River Shootout going to be insane this year. ACC winning natties. Okay, Christopher, please. Who's winning natties? Clemson. You did get Florida State as a national champion. You can claim that in 2013. So the SEC would be the league that can claim, certainly in recent times, that, hey, we have multiple teams, all sorts of teams winning national championships. If you go back to the mid to late 90s, or even more recent than that, to have Alabama, Auburn, Florida, LSU win national championships, it is impressive. It is impressive. SEC haters, you have to admit that's impressive. I don't value national championships because I hate the system and it's a farce. But if a team wins a national championship, we know that they were at least deserving of being in the running. They earned the place to play for a national championship. Maybe there were other teams who earned it just as much, but I don't discount those national championships from any of the teams in modern times in the BCS era, but especially in the playoff era, because they earned it. But it's been all Ohio State in the Big Ten. It was all Florida State in the ACC, and now all Clemson in the ACC. It's been all Oklahoma since 2009 in the Big 12. In the Pac-12, at one time, it was all USC, and really nobody else has jumped up as a legitimate national championship contender. I know that Washington made the playoffs a couple of years ago, and Stanford had a nice run from 2010 to 15. They were on the fringe of competing for national championships, but it's basically been USC, Ohio State, Oklahoma since 2009. Before that, it was Oklahoma, Texas from 2000 to 2009. Florida State, then Clemson. But the SEC haters, you must admit, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, all have competed and won national championships in that span of time. It is impressive. And let's not discount what Oregon accomplished. They made it to 2 national championship games. They were a mainstay as a top 5 team from about 2009 to 14 for about 5 to 6 seasons under Chip Kelly. And then Mark Helfrich had it placed in his lap. Oregon's an odd football program. They're going to be an odd one to rank if I do any rankings. Maybe I'll do post-2000 rankings, and Oregon's an odd one because they were good from 2000 to 2008, 2009, and then they were elite. They were as good as anybody, except for not completing the deal and winning the national championship. Look at that Auburn game. That could have broken the SEC streak very easily. Oregon played extremely well. 22-19 game, last second field goal. And then, of course, they continue to play well. Won big bowl games, finished in the top 5, went to another national championship game, and then Baylor and TCU won several Big 12 titles. Several? Did they win several? Cheryl, you're funny. Paul Dodd, any interest in the AAF games this weekend? Hey, I have no interest in this. Maybe I'll check it out since you guys seem to be excited about it. Where can I find these games? I know I can look this up. I don't want to act like my kids who've got a phone in their hand 24 hours a day. And then when it comes to the most simple questions, they'll ask me, Dad, what time is such and such? Look, you got a phone in your hand. You can look up anything. And you're asking me what time the game's on or things that are a little bit more obscure than that. And I'm like, how would I know that? You've got a phone in your hand. So I can look it up. But I would guess this sounds like a TNT kind of deal. What? TNT, True TV, maybe NBC Sports Net, CBS Sports Net. Okay. Regular CBS is carrying this. Sean Grace. Here we go. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thank you so much for joining. NFL Network will carry some games as well, according to Paul. And again, Sean, welcome to the channel. Our aim is to provide you with the best discussion, debate, and analysis in college football. And we want to have some fun. We are going to have more fun in the future. All right. Ooh, Cheryl, I can't repeat that. I can't do it. I can't do it. Paul, live streamed on YouTube too. Really? So you want me to promote and watch the AAFL, whatever that stands for, the All-American Football League, I'm guessing? And they're going to be competing against me? Man. Deep Barat wants a beer. What's your beer of choice, Deep Barat? Yeah, Bevo ransacked a little Ugga. That was quite amusing. That was funny. Sean, listened to the podcast for years from Ireland. Big fan, big Memphis Tigers fan. Sean, maybe I've run across you before because I do remember somebody from Ireland. I thought that was somebody else, and I do not remember a Memphis fan. Sean, I don't know if you've been watching long enough to remember when we used to bring on, I believe his name's Mike Maddox. Great guy who covers Memphis football, and we used to have him on a fairly regular basis. And again, if you have a team that you love and I don't cover them, I want to cover them. Obviously, there's a limitation on time and resources, and I've got to speak to the teams: Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Miami, Auburn, the usual, Georgia, that will bring in the views. And obviously, they're the teams competing for championships. But do I want to talk some Memphis football? Absolutely, I want to talk some Memphis football. So if you guys want me to cover a team and you can somehow promote those videos, whether it be on social media or get me in touch with somebody who, if I produce those videos and we cover those teams, will put it on another site, or maybe they've got a huge Twitter following, 20, 25, 30,000 people, that it will garnish some little buzz, then I will certainly go that route. Deep Rot, drink a Coors Light. Okay, good call. Certainly had my share. Deep Rot, am I a single man or do you have a girlfriend? Oh my goodness. That's a loaded question right now. Prince, 6'1". Make sure you guys click that like button to help Mark out with the YouTube analytics. Prince is late to the party, but man, he brought the goods. He delivered the goods. Thank you so much. I don't watch a lot of YouTubers. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. I actually, if I do, I generally watch and listen to music. But I do catch some people from time to time, and I try to remember. I think, hey, if I'm watching this video and I think it's a good video, even if I disagree with the guy, I think he's way off. His opinion is off. I don't agree with him, but I think, you know what? He's putting forth an honest effort. He knows what he's talking about. He just has a different opinion than I do. I will still like the video. So I would love us to get to a place where if I see I've got 3,000 views on a video that I have 2,500 likes. I know that that ratio just does not exist in YouTube, and I can't even answer how much that really helps. But this is what I hear from YouTubers all over the place, is that it's legit, that YouTube recognizes and rewards engagement. So if a video has 1,000 views and 13 likes and 4 comments, that's not going to be promoted in traffic and search engines as much as the same video that gets 1,000 views, same number of views, but has 512 likes and 119 comments. That one's going to get pushed. That's how I understand it. And part of this game is for me to learn a lot more about YouTube and a lot more about affiliate marketing and a lot of other things I need to get into. I would like to say hello to, I don't believe he's on the line tonight. I have not seen his handle, but there's one particular person who has contacted me on a regular basis and been in the live chat a lot, especially in recent months. And he's contacted me personally, and he has offered up his support and help in building a business plan. So I appreciate him doing that and giving me his time. Do I still follow Major League Baseball? Well, not as much as I would like. I still enjoy the game, La Potencia. I hope I said that correctly. I do enjoy Major League Baseball, but I just don't have the time to follow it the way I consider it. Most people would consider what I do to be following Major League Baseball. But for me, when I was really following it, you could say San Diego Padres, and I would tell you everybody on the roster and their stats, and I knew exactly what was going on with everybody. That to me is following Major League Baseball. Now, yes, what I do would be still be considered by most people following Major League Baseball. Yeah. But I basically sit here for many nights throughout the summer, if there's not something better to do, which my life needs to improve in that way. Thanks, Cheryl. Yes, it would be nice to share a beverage with you as well. So, and everybody else on here. Oh, Prince 6'1's getting into music genres. Just talking about baseball. So I have found myself over the last few seasons, and you guys see this, I don't slow down during the summer or during the off season. I am cranking out just as much football content during the off season. So I'll find myself cranking out all this content, and I've got Major League Baseball games on here because I want to keep track, and it'll hit 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be like, I have no idea what happened tonight, so I shouldn't even put it on. My favorite music. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at some point. I have some ideas for somewhat alternate content that I'm going to first produce and put on Instagram and on Facebook that's not college football related. Now, this in no way is going to take away from what I produce in terms of college football content. This is not going to take me a lot of time or anything like that. but I would like to get into a couple different areas that is just going to kind of expand my horizon and allow me to talk about a couple other things. But again, it's not going to take away from college football. This will be college football centric all the time. Don't be concerned about that. Jimbo is just getting a free pass till retirement, $75 million pass. Prince is a fan of 90s Southern rock, grunge rock. So for me, wow, it's difficult for me to describe what I like. Now let's start with this, and you guys are going to find this. Some of you are going to find this amusing, but I am telling you, if you really dug into this individual's library, this guy has so much incredible singing talent and ability. It's astonishing. I'm a huge Elvis Presley fan. He's just the greatest performer ever. Now, beyond him, I grew up in the 80s. So I love Springsteen, Mellencamp, Madonna, the Bangles. I know I'm probably embarrassing myself because some of this bubblegum stuff, that's the way it is. I like what I like. It depends what it is. I get on runs with certain songs and different musicians. Like I listen to the song by oh my goodness, I can't remember who does If I Had $1 Million. Who sings that? So anyway, I listened to it over and over. This was last night while I was working here. I just played it like 6, 7 times in a row. Michael, it's good to see you. I believe you have been on the live chat before, so I'm not going to give you an official welcome to Mark Rogers TV. I almost did, but it's good to see you, Michael. Bare Naked Ladies. Thank you very much. That was obvious. Thank you so much, Kyle. Kyle! Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Chiming in with the answer that I needed right there. Bare Naked Ladies, of course. I don't know why I love that song so much. There are certain like I can listen to yeah, I'm all over the place. I love Motown. I love like some 50s, early 60s music sounds very dated and I appreciate it, but other stuff just seems to last the test of time to me. The Supremes, I think, are amazing. I love the Supremes. I love really old music, but I love some new stuff too. What do I love that's new? The problem with a lot of the new tunes that I like is that I can't tell you who sings the tunes. So when my daughter was around, who's now at college, from the time that she started to listen to the radio, I would let her dominate the radio just because I'm a nice dad. And it was something to talk about. And when she first started listening to her own music, it was Justin Bieber. You know, she was like 9 years old and crazy about Justin Bieber. And then she, you know, Taylor Swift and that type of stuff, top 40 stuff. But we would listen together, and there was a lot of stuff that she liked, and I would have to admit, that's catchy. I like it. That's cool. My son is very funny because he's a hip hop guy. His his 3 favorite artists. This is going to be funny to fill you in on this one. So this is my son. His favorite artist is Kendrick Lamar. His 3rd favorite artist is Frank Ocean. So similar genre. And he loves a ton of other stuff. Who is the artist who only produced 1 album? I can't think of her name. This was in 1998, and it's a beautiful album. She is a tremendous singer. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill. Yeah. This was in 1998, and he played this album for me, and it's a beautiful album. So that's one of his favorites as well. So, so my son, Kendrick Lamar's number 1, and Frank Ocean's number 3. Now, number 2 is somewhat influenced by me, but he's his own man, obviously, because I have no interest in Kendrick Lamar or Frank Ocean, but my son's number 2 favorite, because he doesn't think anybody can sing anywhere close to him, and he's right, is Elvis Presley. So that's an odd top 3 for my son. What else do I like? Man, I would just have to list songs. Like, it was funny. Steve Dace, Michigan podcast. The last time he was on, near the end of his time with me, he mentioned the song by Dwight Yoakam, Maybe I'll be fast as you. So it must be called Fast as You. Maybe I'll break hearts too. That song. And he mentioned it, and I thought, man, I haven't heard that song in forever. And I put it on, and I just had to repeat it like 3 or 4 times. I just got into it. And I was like, man, I forgot about that song. Unfortunately, the lead singer of the Cranberries passed away just a few months ago. Is anyone still with me on all this stuff? She just passed away a few months ago, and that reminded me of how much I love the song Linger. Oh, and I could listen to that song over and over and over. I just think it's a beautiful song. All right, I think I've lost you all. Cheryl's bringing up Coach Day and Michael Capone. What do you think of Sam Darnold at USC? Is that directed at me? What do I think of him at USC? I think he had 2 outstanding seasons. He led USC to the Rose Bowl win, in which they dug themselves a hole early in the season. Benched, was it Max Brown? Oh, man, I just lost it. It wasn't Max Brown. Who was the starting quarterback at USC before Sam Darnold that won the job? Was it Max Brown? Anyway, Darnold got the job at Utah, played really well. They lost that game. He led them to the Rose Bowl win. They were the best team in the Pac-12, despite not winning the Pac-12 championship that year. Then they did win the Pac-12 championship the next year, and he's off to the NFL. He got a little careless with the football, both fumbling and throwing interceptions. But besides that, what do I think of Sam Darnold at USC? He's at a school that has produced as many great quarterbacks as almost any school in the nation. Miami, Washington State, Washington, USC, Stanford are great quarterback schools. Of course, Alabama, Michigan to a certain extent, Purdue. Those are the great quarterback schools off the top of my head. Sam Darnold would rank near the top 5 for only playing 2 seasons. Mark, do you live in Columbus? All right. So you guys know I work at ESPN. Where is ESPN? It's in Connecticut. That's where I live. Mark, what do you think of Matt Harvey? Oh, my goodness. We're diving into baseball. Cheryl grew up with Elvis. And I know Elvis gets a bad rap, and I get it. Bad movies, drug addict, turned clownish, overweight, the whole deal, the jumpsuits, Vegas. I get it. Strip all that away. Just get down to the music and the greatness and the legend of him mixing rhythm and blues and country and R&B and all that out of the gate, and taking off after that, and just the brilliance of the performance and the voice. It's astonishing. It really is. If you really watch him in his prime, and unfortunately he had a horrible manager who took him off the stage, and this guy was the greatest stage performer of all time. James Brown has said it, Neil Diamond, Jim Morrison, Robert Plant. They all say Elvis, the best, the greatest. Paul McCartney, Springsteen, Tom Petty. I heard Tom Petty say recently, of course, Rest in peace, Tom Petty just passed away. I was seeing something that he responded to when he was talking about his influences, and I saw this clip on YouTube where Tom Petty said, when he first started listening to music, he'd listen to Elvis, and he was like, "I give up. I can't do that. This guy's too good. He's too good. He moves too good. He looks too good. He sounds too. I can't sing that well. I just can't do that." Then he saw the Beatles. The Beatles came out, and he was like, "Okay, yeah." And then the Stones came out, and Petty was convinced, "Yeah, I can do that. I can't do that though." All right, Grateful Dead, a great weed music. Yes, Mark, name the top 5 best recruiters. We got Kid on the line now. I'm waiting for Orlando going 2-0. Darren McCardle. Beast mode. We got a bunch of standby. We've got the core of Mark Rogers TV coming out here late in the live chat. Elvis died on the can eating Prince. No. Timba Wolf. It's amazing how many people tonight are complimenting me. Well, that's amazing in and of itself. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for all the compliments. I appreciate it. But it's funny to see how many people are complimenting me like they talk to me all the time. And I look at the handle and I'm like, I have never heard from this person before. And they are saying thank you. So Timba Wolf, keep doing great work. You're not biased at all. I hope this blows up. We need more shows like this, just covering facts. Timba Wolf, welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thanks for joining us. How long have you been watching? Who do you like? Who do you watch? Who do you root for? I can't do that too many times. I'm going to lose my voice. So thank you for the compliment. And yes, full disclosure, and I kept this under wraps for a long time, and I don't talk about it much. But yes, I'm an Ohio State fan, but I do my very, very best to try to keep that under wraps, not just under wraps because I don't want anyone to know, but just so I can cover the game, and I try to do it as best I can. Am I biased? You know what I want to tell you? No, absolutely. I am not biased. But you know what? Yes, I am biased. I try not to be. And I have had Ohio State fans even recently just pummel me, not knowing I'm a Buckeyes fan, and saying, you know, you're too hard. You're an Ohio State hater. And I find that amusing, of course. But that lets me know that I'm at least doing my job, and that's what I attempt to do. So sometimes I actually push against the Buckeyes a little bit because I'm trying to stay neutral. So that's my attempt. But am I unbiased? Well, that's my attempt. In reality, am I? Of course not. I'm as much unbiased as I possibly can be, but we're all humans. So let's all understand we're all biased. It's impossible not to be. It's based on our emotions, our upbringing, our background, what we're exposed to, what we believe. We're all biased about something, about everything really in life, and that includes college football. And there's nothing wrong with that. But my take is I try to put my bias over here and try to just objectively look at it. And so Timba Wolf, I appreciate. I can't wait till next season for Minnesota. I'm expecting a great year. Beast mode. Oh, so this is maybe beast mode. Is this a different? We've got a couple different beast modes that call in. So I appreciate you joining. I used to have a guy on, Ryan. I forget his last name. Ryan. Anyway, Ryan from Rivals. I believe he was a Rivals guy and not a 247 guy, and he was an exceptional commentator and analyst of Minnesota football, and I used to have him on a regular basis. Unfortunately, nobody watched the videos. He would post them sometimes to 247 or Rivals. I apologize if I'm messing up his outlet. But he would post the videos and they would do fairly well then, kind of like Andrew Hutchinson, who I've had on from 24/7 Sports as well, from Arkansas. And when he posts the videos, they do well. When I just post them and he doesn't get a chance to, or for whatever reason is not able to post the videos to the Arkansas Rivals or 247 platform, then nobody watches them because I don't have any Arkansas fans watching me. I don't have any Minnesota fans watching me, maybe a couple. So that's what I'm talking about when I addressed the whole Miami situation earlier. I would love to talk about Arkansas football and break it down. But if I don't have anybody posting that to an Arkansas site where I can get and draw Arkansas fans here, then I'm not talking to anyone. And it's a waste of my time. Mark, am I the only diehard Texas fan you know, or are there others? You should come to Austin sometime. I'll take you out to some great Texas barbecue. Well, that would be fabulous, Deep Barat. And I think I finally got the second part of your handle down to where I won't forget it. Deep Barat. Savage. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him in a long time, but Savage 17 might have been his handle. Savage something. He's a big Texas guy. Steve Helwick, who we have on here on a regular basis, doesn't necessarily watch me, but I have him on to talk Texas football. I don't know if anybody else that watches Texas, but my Texas videos seem to do pretty well, and I need to cover Texas, of course. Cheryl. Ryan Burns, thank you. Hail to Harbaugh. Hail to Harbaugh. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thank you so much for joining. You are welcome to the best discussion, debate, and analysis of the game we love. That's our intent. That's our purpose. That's our goal, to deliver the very best in discussion, debate, and analysis. That's what we're trying to do right here. I think we're there, but I'm going to get better. We're going to be better. So welcome. Mark, who do you think is the best player ever taken out of Boise State? La Potencia. Wow. That is a great question. Vander Esch had a great rookie season with the Dallas Cowboys, so he immediately comes to mind. So you would need to clarify to a certain extent the best player in Boise State football history, or the best player who then went to the NFL and had the best pro career. Deep Barat. Jim Harbaugh has a... You guys sucker me into some of these comments I can't repeat. Joseph Holmes. This might be my last call out for the night. No, it's not, because I see somebody else who's joined us for the first time. Dion's Life. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thank you for joining the channel. I would love to know who you root for and how long you've been watching. Thank you so much for joining. And also, Vincent, we spoke earlier, and as well, Joseph Holmes. Welcome, Joseph. You have found a place for college football right here. I hope you're going to smash the like button. I hope you're going to subscribe, share the videos, whatever you love in terms of what team you root for. If it's LSU, Miami, Ohio State, wherever, if it's a major team, we've got videos there for you. Share them, talk about them, debate me, discuss it, back me up, or challenge me, whatever the case might be. This is where we do college football, and our aim is to do it better than anyone else. Oh, I know what I need to mention to you guys. This I thought was very funny. So there is a particular person on social media that follows me on Twitter, and I follow them back, and they have a Missouri podcast. And they let me know the other day that I was mentioned by somebody on the Paul Feinbaum show last Friday. So I tried to find the mention. I have access to archives to be able to look it up, but for particular reasons, there were tech issues and I wasn't able to look it up, and I will get on that again this week. But I thought it was hilarious that somebody actually mentioned me on the Paul Feinbaum show apparently last Friday. So this is my ask. If you ever have any inclination to call Feinbaum or Cowherd or Klatt or whomever of that level or a regional level, and you want to mention me, it's obviously great pub for me. If you want to mention, hey, I heard this on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, or you know what, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football has this to say, whatever, I would appreciate it. Of course, I'm not calling you to do that, but that did bring to mind that opportunity. Adam, if Michigan doesn't beat Ohio State this year, I don't know if they ever will. Cal Hurd doesn't take calls. He used to, didn't he? Hail to Harbaugh. Well, I doubt Justin Fields will match 50 TDs, so not too big of a deal for me. Minnesota's going to go 9-3 this year. Well, playing down the stretch, they played Northwestern tough. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Georgia Tech. Minnesota looked really good the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season. No, they didn't beat. They played Northwestern within 14-10, I believe was the final score. They played Northwestern very tough. They beat Purdue. They throttled Purdue. They beat Wisconsin by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they beat Georgia Tech by 24 points in the bowl game. So I don't know what got into Minnesota football other than we talked about it at the time. And this is one of the reasons why I was very confident in taking Minnesota to pull off the outright upset, and I cashed out at the teller's window for this as well. I took Minnesota as a 5-point or 6-point underdog against Georgia Tech to win that game outright. They switched up defensive coordinators. They got rid of Rob Smith, replaced him with about 3 or 4 games left, and they were a completely different defense after that. Now they have an experienced quarterback who was completely raw and inexperienced this year after he won the job from the kid Zanikstad, who, of course, won the job as a true freshman walk-on. But yeah, Ryan Burns was the guy that we used to have on to talk Minnesota football. Unfortunately, he just doesn't get back to me now. And I thought we had great conversations, and he seemed to love coming on, but maybe he has other things going on. Megan Dugan. Oh, you're asking beast mode. Okay. I don't want to pry into your private conversations, your public private conversations. All right. I don't think I missed anything. If I ever miss anything, you guys know what you need to do. Just write it in the comments section. And you know what I promised my son I would do, because he harps on me about this all the time. He says big, successful YouTubers all have comments videos. They all have reaction to comments, and they post them on a regular basis at the same time every week. And that's what you need to do. And I pledged to do that today. And until right then, I completely forgot about it. So I will have to get to it tomorrow. All right, folks. It's been a good time. Oh, Deep Barat. She is the hockey captain of Team USA. The stuff that you guys know is crazy. La Potencia, the player from Boise State who had the most successful NFL career. My son is 22. I'm old. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And keep in mind, if you shop on Amazon, please Just go to any of the videos, grab the link in the description section, and do your Amazon shopping. Just ignore the product. You don't need to purchase the product. Just enter the site using those links. Do your regular Amazon shopping. God bless you, and that will help the channel out as well. Of course, we got the super chat open. If you'd like to donate to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, please do so. Other than that, if you know of anybody out there that would enjoy the college football conversation, please welcome them aboard. If they prefer the audio, let them know that we're on Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. Just search Mark Rogers TV. If I missed anything, we've got a newsletter. If you would like to jump on our newsletter, and for those of you who are patiently awaiting our next newsletter, yes, we were faithful in our delivery of our newsletter, The Voice of College Football, each and every Monday during the college football season, and it's been very sporadic since then. I need to come up with a new schedule for the offseason, which I believe should be every other Monday, may be a good target for the offseason. But please subscribe to the newsletter. It's completely free. I will not abuse your email address. It's a fair trade-off. You will have my email address. I will have yours. Just send me your email address to MarkRogersTV@gmail. MarkRogersTV@gmail. Send me your email address. I'll get you on the mailing list. That's just one newsletter per week during the college football season, and we are attempting at one every other week during the off season. The Voice of College Football. I think you will enjoy it. I think certainly the people that have subscribed to it have let me know that they enjoy it. My next live show. Good question, Deeparat. That is a great question. I will let you know. I apologize that our banner on our YouTube channel is not accurate. It was accurate when I first launched that particular banner. And that's when we delivered live streams for a long time. But then things changed because of my work schedule and some other obligations. So that I apologize for being completely inaccurate. The live stream schedule that was accurate at one point, and now we just don't have a live stream schedule, do we? We should probably work on that. A live stream schedule. For right now, I'm thinking that Friday evening would be a good time to dedicate myself to Friday and maybe a Wednesday. So we'll work on that. I'll look that over, look at my calendar, look at my obligations, and get back to all of you. Thank you so much. As always, we aim to deliver the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. We will see all of you next time, and the videos will keep coming, the conference rankings, and then all this that we talked about is coming your way in the next few weeks and months right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I'm going to check out the live chat, make sure I don't miss anything. If there's anything that you would like me to make sure that I comment to, whether that's a question or a comment of your own, don't leave it in the live chat. Please just copy and paste it and leave it to any of the videos, and I will see it there. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.